Alright, so this is where we left off in the last video, and this is exactly how your urls.py, which is in your My First Project directory, inside the other My First Project. So your internal My First Project, one with the settings.py. I'll normally refer to the folder with the settings.py as kind of like your configuration directory. And I'm going to show you a way to name this better, so we kind of avoid this confusing double folder naming system in future videos when we work on a bigger app. So right now, if yours doesn't look like this, you should be getting this error. If you get this thing that says import error, cannot import named views, you're right with us. We're supposed to be getting that. So just go ahead and make sure that your file is exactly the same. So what is this saying? This cannot import named views. Remember I said at the end of the last video that we're saying from dot, which is this current directory, in regards to urls.py, so right here. Import views. Well, there's nothing called views here. Python's trying to import a module, a file, named views.py, and there's not one here. So let's go ahead and let's make that. So I right click on the My First Project, and I do new file, and I'm going to save this. I did Control S. I'm going to save this as views.py. Alright, we should see our error change down here, because now we have this views.py file. Alright, let's see. I'm going to do Control C to close the server. Sometimes you got to just refresh the server. There we go. So we got a new one. Attribute. Oh, where'd it go? Alright, I don't know what happened there, but there we go. So attribute error. Module object has no attribute home view. So it's saying, okay, well, we imported the views.py, but you told me go into views and get me home view. Well, it went into views and it's saying, well, hey, whoa, hold up. This module has nothing called home view. So let's make that. So I'm just going to say def home view request in parentheses. This is a very Django specific thing. Do not worry about this for right now. Again, in the future, we're going to start using this. You're going to be very familiar with it, but for right now, just blindly type it in there and don't worry about it. Or if you're curious, go ahead and go and look up why you need that request passed in as a parameter, but I'm not going to focus on it until we actually start to use it. Alright, so we're going to say def home view, and then we're going to say return render. So this function, this view, is going to return something. What's it going to return? A call to the render function, which takes 3 arguments. Again, that request that we're passing from here, so the render gets it as well. And the name of a template. I'm going to call this home template.html, and that's a string. And then this, which is a dictionary. And again, this is, don't even really worry about it. Just put these 2 little curly braces in there, and when we get to where you're going to actually start to use this, you're going to become very familiar with what it's doing, and it's going to make a lot more sense. But for right now, just put that empty dictionary in there. If it makes it a little bit easier, you can do context. You can assign it to a variable and then pass the context in there. Spelled it wrong, but whatever. But for right now, this is the simplest thing you need to do. Def home view, in parentheses request, return a call to the render function, which takes the request variable, a string, home template.html, and then an empty dictionary as parameters. We're going to get another error here. And, well, we're not going to get it until we actually call the view. So let's see what this looks like. Let's open up a browser. And remember that how the URL dispatcher worked. Where's that browser? Just a second. Alright, remember how that URL dispatcher worked is it started to look at what's up top here. And then it goes to, well, this little caret says go to the start of the string. The start of the string being right here at the end of the domain name. So we can type in the admin, and it's going to go to this first URL pattern. It's going to match the first one that matches the pattern. So now, if we go to home, there we go. Name render is not defined. You can read through this. Django's got an awesome debugging menu right here. It says it's in this file, my first project views.py in home view. So in the home view function, return render request line 3. So let's look at that. So return render request line 3. Well, it's because render is not defined. So much like how we ran into that issue where we first tried to go into views and Python was like, well, I don't really know what views is. I can't go into something I don't know what it is. We have to tell Django what views is, or excuse me, what render is. And you're going to say from Django.shortcuts. These are built-in modules in Django that come shipped with it. Okay, import render. Alright, so now Python knows what render is, so now it's defined. Let's try this again. Let's refresh. We're going to get one more error. Template does not exist at home template.html. Everything's working good. This whole function's working. The view's working. It's trying to go in and render this template. Remember that very last part. So we did the URL dispatcher, which then found a view, and now it's trying to render a template. We're telling it to render the home template, and it's like, oh hey, I don't know what the home template is. So it kicks back this error. We're going to fix that in the next video.